it's Devin and welcome back to my channel. If you're new visiting my channel, please subscribe for future updates. I try to upload once to twice a week. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today I'm doing a video on my pregnancy update as well as ways to naturally induce labor at home. I'm 40 weeks pregnant now, so anything I can do to help induce labor at home, I'm gonna try. So I'm 40 weeks pregnant. I actually haven't done an official update. I started filming videos actually when I was quite a bit into my pregnancy, so I didn't know if that would be something that people would be interested in. But this is my last chance, so because the baby's gonna be here soon. So I kind of wanted to do a brief overview of my whole pregnancy and things that I've experienced, as well as what's been going on lately. So my pregnancy in general has been pretty easy. So it was similar with my son. It's hardest for me in the beginning. I get very sick. My son, I was super sick up until about 14 weeks, and I would be nauseous and throwing up all day long, every single time I ate. Sorry if I sound out of breath. This time it's been different. I was only sick at night. I was nauseous kind of all day, but around 5 o'clock at night, something would kick in, and that's when I would start throwing up. So it was around dinner time, which meant that I wasn't really cooking a lot of dinner. We were doing a lot of takeout and stuff like that, easy, quick meals. My husband was helping out a lot because I couldn't be in the kitchen. I couldn't be around scents and smells. I had like superhero scent. So that was difficult, and I would throw up at night. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night to throw up. So I don't really know why they call it morning sickness, because with my son it was all day sickness, and this time it was nighttime sickness. I don't know if any of you have experienced that, or if you just were in the morning, but for me it was at nighttime, and around 20 weeks it slowly started to subside. So that was the biggest difficulty probably during my pregnancy. I started around then also experiencing some hip pain, especially at nighttime. I did have that with my son, but I didn't have it until later on in pregnancy. Like when I was big, I was very uncomfortable when I was sleeping. But this time it started pretty early, probably around the time that the nauseousness stopped. You trade one thing for the other. And every night I was waking up in horrible pain with my hips. I was flipping sides like every hour. But then we got a new mattress, and I think that made a really big difference. I had been wanting a king-size bed for a while. I wasn't planning on co-sleeping with my son, but he does sleep in his own room for most of the night, but at some point in the night he still ends up in our room. And a queen-size bed with me and my husband and my son, and being pregnant, and knowing that there's another baby on the way, even though I'm planning on having her in the cradle next to our bed in a co-sleeper, I was just like, we need a bigger bed, because she's only going to get bigger, and then she's going to end up in our room at some point, and it's just going to be crazy. And around that time, my in-laws were actually getting rid of their king-size mattress. She had bought this memory foam mattress, and she didn't like it. It was really hard, and she didn't want to, she wasn't allowed to return it. She tried giving it away to charities, and they wouldn't accept it. So she contacted the company, and they said you could give it away to somebody that needs it, but we couldn't pay for it. So that was an extra plus for us. It was a free mattress. Memory foam probably wouldn't have been ideal for me, but king-size mattresses are really expensive. So we went for it, and it was very uncomfortable. It was like rock hard, and so I did some research, and I ended up buying a wool topper for our bed. It's like a 4-inch wool topper, organic wool. I got it from the futon shop, I believe, out of California. And I had been researching organic mattresses for a long time, because I knew if I was going to get another mattress, I did want to invest in an organic mattress. I feel like it's important. We spend half of our lives in bed on breathing in fumes and chemicals and fire retardants and stuff that they put on these mattresses. So I thought that after doing research, I saw that investing in a really good mattress with less of these chemicals in it is actually really good. So I decided, since I had this memory foam mattress for free, maybe if I at least had a topper that we were just sleeping on, for the most part, it would make a big difference. And they say wool actually counteracts heat, because a lot of people complain with memory foam that you overheat with it. So they say since wool naturally, it wicks away heat, so in the wintertime it keeps you warm, and in the summertime it keeps you cool. So I have noticed a huge difference in my hips since we've gotten this mattress topper. I love it. It's super comfortable and I don't overheat in it at all. A lot of people hear wool and they're like, wool, that's probably so hot. But no, I really haven't had any issues with it, and it's great, and it's made a huge difference in my hips. The one thing I also do though is I sleep with a pillow in between my knees and a pillow under my stomach. I didn't really like the body pillows. I felt like it was too thick or too big for me, like it wasn't comfortable. It almost propped up my stomach too much. I don't know if anyone else has felt that way or if they've tried the body pillow and enjoys it, but for me it didn't really work. So that helps. And something that I did read is not to cross your ankles when you're sleeping, because when you cross your ankles it kind of sets your hips kind of off kilter, and that's what also is making them sore. Excuse me, I feel like I can't breathe. I'm talking too much. But yeah, they say that by trying to keep your ankles a little bit more parallel, that it helps. So those have been my two big complaints during this pregnancy. Other than that, I've been noticing lately, later on into pregnancy, that I've been noticing a lot of like pelvic pain, lightning crotch as they call it, which is like the most terrible name to call something. But that's because the baby's head is dropping lower and lower into position. So sometimes when I walk, she must be on a nerve or something. And it's just like a sudden like pain that like jolts you. I've been getting that a lot lately, which I guess is a good sign. I didn't really get that with my son that much. So maybe she is dropping into position. My son, I had to be induced. I was almost 2 weeks late with him. And I ended up getting an emergency C-section after 14 hours of labor. So it wasn't the easiest birth, and this time I'm trying for a VBAC. So what my doctor had told me is that they're gonna give me a week past my due date, and then they're gonna have to do a C-section. Now, every doctor is different, and some might do induction, a little bit like ease into induction, but they also say that inducing when you've had a previous C-section could possibly irritate the C-section scar and lead to uterine rupture, or just up your chances a little bit of uterine rupture. It's a pretty low chance, it's like a 1% chance, but for me it kind of made me a little bit nervous, so I'd rather not do that. So that's why I'm trying to do everything I can now to prevent having to get a C-section again. But other than that, those are the main symptoms that I've experienced. Sorry, I wrote things down just to make sure that I didn't. I have been in major nesting mode this time. I've been cleaning and organizing the entire house. We live in a pretty small house. It's about 1,100 square feet. So I've been going through the whole house and trying to organize things, purge things, get rid of things. I've been watching a lot of cleaning and organizing videos, which helps a lot. I love, I mentioned her before, but Organized Clutterbug. She's awesome. And I've been watching different like minimalism videos because it really has made a big difference. We've been going through closets, I've been going through toys, I've been going through clothes, shoes, and I've donated tons of things. And when you have a small house, it gets cluttered so easily. And I really want when this baby comes to be things a lot more minimal and easy to keep clean, because the more you have, the more cluttered things get and the dirtier things get quicker. So nesting has been a huge thing that I've been doing lately, and that's my big pregnancy update. Now I'm going to show you my belly. You can't really tell when I'm sitting here, but I've got quite the bump. This is 40 weeks pregnant. Everyone tells me it's like looks like a basketball under my shirt. But yeah, she's gonna be here pretty soon, whether it's going into labor naturally or C-section. But I'm going to tell you about some things that you can do to naturally induce labor. You know, some of these things I've tried, some of them I haven't tried. So if you've tried any of them and found success with them, leave it in the comments below. I'm kind of curious to know if this has helped with anybody. Because every body is different, every pregnancy is different. I tried tons of things with my son and nothing worked. So I don't know if my body just tends to not dilate. I had gone to the doctor last week and they told me that I still wasn't dilated at all. So it kind of made me a little bit nervous that maybe this is just how my body, it just takes a long time. So I'm trying to do everything that I can. Actually, the day that I went to the doctor's was the day before a huge snowstorm we were gonna have. So I was actually slightly happy they told me I wasn't dilated, because we were supposed to get about 2 feet of snow. So I was a little nervous that I was going to go into labor during this massive storm and I wasn't going to be able to get to the hospital. So that was a little bit of a relief, but now I want to get things moving. So number one is red raspberry leaf tea. Now I know a lot of people have probably heard of this before. Red raspberry leaf tea has been used for many, many, many years, and it's used to tone and strengthen the uterus. So it's even recommended to use red raspberry leaf tea even if you're just trying to conceive, even if you're not pregnant yet, because it strengthens the uterine wall. And it also contains tons of vitamins and minerals that is really easily absorbed through drinking. That is really good to strengthen the uterus and make it really healthy for a pregnancy. But it says to either use it trying to conceive, but once you're pregnant, not really to drink it too much until later in pregnancy. So I think after like 36 or 37 weeks. And everybody's different. Every article says something different. Some women I know drink it their entire pregnancy and just really up it towards the end. So do your own research with any of these. Actually, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, so use your own discretion with taking this advice, and do your own research and talk to your own doctor. But what I read about it was that it helps to stimulate the uterus. So it won't necessarily induce you into labor unless your body's ready for it anyway, but it gets your uterus strengthened and toned, so it also helps during labor. So red raspberry leaf tea. I'm not a big tea person, but I have been trying to drink at least a cup every day. Some people drink many more than that, 4 to 5 cups a day, but I just can't. I don't like the taste of tea. Red raspberry leaf tea actually doesn't taste bad. I put some honey in it. Some people put creamer, whatever you want. But I'm just not a big hot drink person. I don't really drink coffee either. I'm a little weird. I do drink hot cocoa though. So I drink about a cup a night. But you can up that, and it probably does help the more you drink. Number 2, I've mentioned in a previous video, is evening primrose oil. Now, evening primrose oil helps to soften and efface the cervix. And it says that what it contains actually helps trigger a response in our body that helps the cervix dilate. So evening primrose oil, there's no like exact dosage from everything that I've read. Everybody says something different. I've been taking it since about 36 weeks, and I started taking one at 36 weeks, and then I upped it one more every week. So 37, I took 2, 38, I took 3. So now I'm up to 5 capsules, and I take like 2 in the morning and 3 at night. You can take them orally, but you can also insert them vaginally. Everybody's different. I hear different things, different research that I've done. Some say that it doesn't really make a difference which way you take it, and then it's just as effective taking it orally as it is vaginally. I don't personally, I've tried taking it internally, but I feel like I don't really like it. You have to wear a pad at night, and I feel like I'm getting up to go to the bathroom like 5 times a night and to use the bathroom, and I'm just losing a lot of the oil anyway. So to me, it just doesn't make any sense, but some people swear by it, so whatever you feel more comfortable with. But yeah, I've been taking about 5 capsules a day of that, and I did take it with my son, but I wasn't as regular, and I didn't start as early, and I wasn't using as much. So I'm hoping this does make a difference for me. Number 3 is nipple stimulation, and I know that sounds kind of weird to people, but either manually, I've heard people using a breast pump to do that, but they say what it does, it helps the body to release oxytocin, which is actually a natural form of Pitocin, which is what they give you in the hospital to induce you. So I've heard a lot of success stories with that. The idea of using a breast pump to me before I have to just stresses me out. I did not love using the breast pump. I nursed my son for a year, and I did pump when I was at work when I had to, but I just hated it. It was very uncomfortable for me. But let me know if that's worked for you, because I might be desperate enough to try it. So let me know in the comments below. Okay, number 4 is walking. I've been trying to do a lot more of that. I'm active in general during the day. I have a toddler. I have a 3-year-old little boy. So I'm running after him. I'm cleaning the house. But going for actual walks, I did yesterday for about 45 minutes around our neighborhood. And they say it's good because it's the gravity, and it's like the pounding motion. It just naturally brings the baby further and further down. onto your pelvis and gets it into the right position. So the more you can walk, the better. I'm sure it's not just walking, any kind of physical activity. You obviously don't want to like all of a sudden go jogging and running if you haven't done that during your whole pregnancy. But they say however active you were before pregnancy and during pregnancy, you can continue doing that, and it does help the baby drop further into position. Number 6 is spicy foods. And the idea behind spicy foods, they say, is it agitates your bowels. So it kind of gets your uterus irritated, from what I read. And it says that it possibly triggers contractions because of the bowels being irritated, which is why they also say you can eat pineapple, any kind of like acidic kind of foods. I did eat pineapple. I have to go get more. I'm not a huge fan of spicy foods, but I love pineapple, so I'm gonna try to eat more pineapple this week. I also heard that's like more of an easy version of like castor oil. I've heard a lot of stories about castor oil like really helping people go into labor, but my midwife made me promise that I wouldn't do that. And I actually had a really good friend of mine that did use castor oil, and it did put her into labor, but she said it was absolutely awful, and she was sick and throwing up and had diarrhea and was just like, you're in labor already and now you have this on top of it. So that doesn't really sound appealing to me, but they say it's the same idea with castor oil because it's like a natural laxative and it kind of like triggers your bowels and makes contractions going. So a little easier way to do that on your body is spicy foods, acidic foods. So next one, I don't know if did I say 6? I think I was on 5, so now is 6, which is intimacy, being intimate with your spouse. They say also is the same thing. It triggers your uterus activity. And they also say that, I know this is awkward, but they say that semen actually has a natural source of, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, prostaglandins, which is something that they synthetically give you in the hospital also to ripen your cervix. So doing that will also help induce labor if you want to give that a try. And the last thing is squats. So along with walking, it's kind of the same idea of gravity, and the position that you're putting your hips in helps the baby slide more down into position. And again, just like the walking, if you haven't been doing squats during your whole pregnancy, don't all of a sudden one day decide to do 800 squats. But even in general, like day-to-day things, instead of bending over and putting pressure on your back, you could squat down to pick things up. And they say that that's really helpful trying to get to the baby into the right position. So squats is the last thing. I did want to mention one other thing, and I've heard mixed things about it, is pedicures. I did go get a pedicure last week, and a lot of people say that pedicures and foot massage can lead to inducing labor, but then I've also read that it has to be specific points, like acupuncture points. So if you're going to do that, you need to go to a professional that actually knows the actual points. Like going to get a pedicure from someone that's just going to massage your feet isn't going to put you into labor. But either way, pedicures are relaxing, and us pregnant ladies at the end of pregnancy can't reach our feet anyway, so I wanted my feet to be presentable for labor. So I did go do that, but who knows if that actually does anything. Let me know if that has worked for you or what you think about it. But those are my tips. So again, if you have any advice or anything else that you've tried and has worked for you, let me know in the comments below. And if not, subscribe below, right below, you can subscribe. And yeah, so next time I have a video, I'll probably have a little baby with me. So my next video will probably be my labor and delivery story, or meet my baby. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And if not, thanks for watching.